Xigua. Game number 1 is going to be on Daybreak, guys, so let's hop in and introduce our players.
So, spawning up in the top right position, we have got the red Zerg. It's Xigua. Did I say that right? You said it perfectly last time, Jorasar.
Xigua.
Xigua. And his opponent down in the lower left, the blue Zerg player, it's white. So, Daybreak, probably the map that has been in the map pool longest, and for good reason. It's a great map, lots of people like it, but ZVZ, the map doesn't really influence it that much, except we're probably almost certain to see Mutalist this game.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. We haven't actually seen Muta versus Muta in any of our ZVZ mirror matchups, but then again, we haven't had too many mirror matches this game, this match rather, in this tournament so far. They've mainly been PvPs, so I wonder if we're finally going to go into a macro Muta-based ZVZ, which of course is arguably the current metagame. But these players hailing from different regions as well. Don't forget it's China versus Europe, effectively. So Xigua probably plays on the Korean server quite a lot. So we could have different strategies, different metagames emerge, and see how they clash against each other.
So, Xigua and White are both going to be looking at, hang on, what can we do with this? Apparently this is actually game 3, not game 1. The score is apparently, so this is... This all comes down to this, which is, of course, very, very much good fun. So we'll wait to see what does happen. But yeah, currently, as we can see, they're both going hatch first openings, which is probably the safest way to go. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing about Daybreak is the rush distance by ground is really long. And a really long rush distance means, generally speaking, you're not going to want to go for something too aggressive. And that's all due to the rocks in the middle. And therefore, should be getting into the mid-game quite comfortably.
Now, for those of you who may not have watched before, or perhaps are new tuning into StarCraft, welcome, and we hope you're enjoying the game. What Maddles was talking about just now is that if we take a quick look at the rocks in the middle of the map, it takes quite a long time for these things to be broken down. So, what we tend to do, as we just say, brave, it looks like both sides are going to be going for those hatcheries, basically mirror at the moment. These rocks mean that you have to go either via the top or the bottom lanes, as Nick is currently showing us. And because of that, it's not a straight line to your opponent's base. It's actually quite a long, circuitous sort of S route, and it takes much longer on Daybreak to get to your opponent than it would on a lot of other maps. So for this reason, a lot of macro-based play is generally encouraged here.
I think you just summed that up beautifully. I couldn't have done it better if I was Shakespeare. And of course, now what we've got coming down is, well, both players droning and making queens. Not a single Zergling has been made this game so far. Apparently, this is, all in all, just a pacifist Zerg strand. It's been mutated slightly wrong. They do not want to fight, they just want to drone.
Well, I see no reason why not. I mean, the longer these guys can drone, the more they can swarm later on, but it looks like it's Xigua that's potentially looking to apply a little bit more early game pressure as he gets his Baneling nest down first, but then White is responding with exactly the same thing. Note, though, interestingly, still no Zerglings on the field. There are the first 6 from Xigua. So, I would say as is traditional in a lot of mirror matchups, we'll end up having an aggressor and a defender. And it looks like Xigua here is going to be the guy who will first be on the offense.
Now, speed finishing up is, of course, a really important part. Those Banelings, if you get good Baneling hits off, and I know we've spoken a lot about Muta on Muta, but ZVZ, if you get the engagement well and you get a good Baneling connect, the game will never get that far. And Xigua is getting out 18 more Zerglings. Just as Speak finishes 20 Zerglings now on their way out. That's going up to 26. This is a big commitment to aggression in Game 3.
Yep, it looks... This looks to you, wow, very, very huge commitment to aggression here, and we're still only seeing droning up from White, and he actually has a double evolution chamber on the way as well. I almost said evolution bay, that would have been interesting, and now we see a lot of Lings pouring through. He needs to be so careful. There are 4 defensive Banelings. They will immediately take out the first couple of Lings, but, oh, actually not that much being done here. And what remains are 5 Banelings being morphed in, and a lot of Zerglings trying to take apart the Queens now. We actually have White trying his best to pull drones, but oh my god, he goes straight into the Banelings! And this is going to be absolutely huge for our Chinese player. Of course, one of the queens still alive, 3 banelings still there, pulling drones once again, but the banelings are just doing way too much damage, and I think Xigua might have this game. He's up to 41 supply versus 34 right now, and streaming a couple more lings as well. So many workers going down here, and this is a very difficult situation for White.
It is indeed a very difficult situation. White does have a couple of banelings, but they detonated a bit incorrectly there, and that means that only 1 baneling remains at the moment. More morphing in, more banelings morphing in for Xigua. And just as we said, Ling Bling phase of this ZVZ mirror matchup can be oh so tense, and this is what it can all come down to, and appears that it will. Currently the worker count 23-19 in Xigua's favor. White, though, has got a good number of banelings out ready for the defense, or at least morphing in very quickly.
Oh, very nice. Getting so many of those banelings to cancel there, and another 2 banelings coming out. Xigua just constantly cancelling out his opponent's aggression here, and that's important because White only has 1 queen. He's using that queen to defend as well. He's been missing injects. Xigua has so many more larvae to play with right now that even if he was only going to drone up off the back of this, which he might, that queen is so low, and he gets the final queen as well. He could go home and drone up and play a low macro game, and he would still be significantly ahead because of the lack of those injects. He is now up to 36 workers versus 22, and he can't really do much more about it simply because those larva injects from Xigua have been phenomenal, and there are no queens left for White.
Now, while pumping this aggression out in a lot of lings, due to the additional injects, Xigua just been pumping a couple of drones as well, up to 34 to just 22 of White. That is quite a substantial advantage. Actually, it's massive in ZVZ. Meanwhile, there's still more banelings morphing in. The aggression is not stopping yet, and there's more drones coming out behind this as well. Looking really, really solid for the Red Zerg player, and all in all, White is going to have to pull off a bit of a miracle.
Oh wow, 4 banelings immediately detonating there, and the queen actually doing a great job to block this off. I wonder if he's going to get this queen as well. Sees the baneling there. The baneling does detonate. I think he might be, if he gets this queen as well, that could be huge. Ooh, very, very nice dodge on that baneling hit now as well. And I think White might be in a bit of trouble again. Pulling drones, that queen is going down, and now we're fighting lings against drones. This constant aggression from Xigua is going to be too much. He's up 53 to 31 supply now. Every drone at the natural expansion is going down, and he can now wreak havoc in the main base if he so chooses. Such a difficult position to be in. Oh, if he gets this queen as well, that's adding insult to injury here. It looks like it's going to survive, but I just don't see a way back here at all, and Xigua's almost got his Roach Warren.
Yeah, the Roach Warren just finishing up as you speak, Jorisar, and that's the point really where you don't come back from, because there's no way the White can afford to do anything with Roaches. +1 missile attack coming down. The work count 47 to 21. That's huge. The 3rd base also coming down for Xigua, and this is, well, really, really a tough spot. And a couple of lings also just going to maintain the pressure, forcing White to pump out more units still. And we see the lings do manage to make it into the natural base. Do we get any big detonations off? Yes, a couple. But the queens, this is the real story. Xigua has taken out the queens time and time again, stopping the injects, stopping the lava production. And that is how Xigua is really getting ahead and really got ahead this game.
Yep, he's up to 47 workers to 21 at the moment, more than double his opponent's army supply. We can see a little bit of a counterattack being mounted here from White. Oh, he manages to get 1 baneling to cancel actually, but only by the skin of his teeth there. And we have some defensive banelings and a couple of roaches as well. That is going to spell the end of that. Xigua almost double the supply of his opponent right now. There's really not much White can try. He's been so larva starved. It's such a difficult position to be in.
Yeah, being lava starved is never something you want. Xigua as well just pumping so many roaches, and there is a small window where lings can beat roaches just if the surface area is high enough, but once you start getting this number out with some banelings there defensively as well, it's all too much. The banelings do need to get focused down though, and there's the GG. Well played, and Xigua will advance forward into, I believe,